Fun announcement once again for those of you just getting your old radios to work. Today, the popular and successful local businessman, Steamer, will host his own radio program right here on this station. So be sure to tune in for Steamer's Slandiferous Phantasmagorical Radio Extravaganza for a listening experience you'll never forget. This is WOWOW, the Echo of the Valley.
Well?
You on the radio?
Yes. It's something I've dreamed about my entire life. Say, you don't think the name is too flashy, do you?
Splendiferous, Steamer,
No. Listen to it. Steamer, Splendiferous, Phantasmagorical, Radio Extravaganza. That name came from right up. Hey, heard on the radio that radio show.
So how do you do the radio show over and off?
Well, quite simply, I'm going to be broadcasting from the arcade.
You're going to broadcast the radio show from here?
You're catching on, Billy, my man. You're catching on.
And who's supposed to be on this radio show of yours?
Well, mostly me, being my charming, lovable self. Oh, and my friends, of course, too. Yes, my friends. In fact, Billy, I think that you would make a fabulous radio guest.
No. I won't talk to anybody I can't see, Steamer.
How about me, Steamer? I just don't know how long on the radio. Everyone would hear me. How about you, Grandma? I can get the car to be wrecking. How can you jumping jack?
Jumping jacks. Now, there's a concept I like for a radio show. Yes. I'll tell you what, kid. You can do whatever you want to do as long as you talk about the splendiferous Steamer.
Is this show supposed to help anybody else?
Hey, who am I? Nobody will help you.
Steamer. Now, Steamer, there's more to being on a radio than showing off and talking about yourself. Because people love to listen to the radio because it keeps them company. And when they listen to music and stories on the radio, it can conjure up all sorts of images in your mind.
Miss Jones, why don't you just leave it to the experts, okay? Because between my radio savvy know-how, my friends in the entertainment business, and the music from the jukebox, I am sure that Steamer's Splendiferous Phantasmagorical Radio Extravaganza is going to tell me. That's, she'll just talk to later, baby. Hear that? We're going to be on Steamer's radio show. Like, wow.
I know that song for me to sing.
What do you think, Rick?
Well, I think we ought to get some new hats for the radio show so we're at our home tonight.
Hey, you know what, gang? I hear that there's some money in playing on the radio. Big money.
Big money!
I know it's an advertisement for your radio show, Steamer, but that poster doesn't belong inside of my train.
Come on, Billy. Think how great it would look. Steamer's Splendiferous Phantasmagorical Radio Extravaganza.
My train's not that long.
Come on, Bill. It's got to be on something big. Let's see it, Billy. Steamer, last call for passengers on the bus to town. What? Hey, Felix, un momento. You're the guy I want to talk to.
Tell me it's not true. Steamer has a radio show?
Oh, it's true, all right. The super-duper fandangled something or other.
It's made him very popular with the kids.
Oh, yeah. But he should be doing his radio show from a radio station. People shouldn't rush into things that they're not prepared for.
I know what you mean. The same thing just happened to Thomas.
Really?
He was a fish out of water, you might say.
When Thomas puffed along his branch line, he always looked forward to something special. The sight of the river. As he rumbled over the bridge, he would see people fishing. Thomas often wanted to stay and watch, but his driver said no. What would Sir Topham Hatt say if we were late? Every time he met another engine, he would say, I want to fish. But They all had the same answer. Engines don't go fishing. Silly stick in the mud, thought Thomas. One day, he stopped as usual to take in water at the station by the river. Out of order. Bothered, said Thomas. I'm thirsty. Never mind, said his driver. We'll get some water from the river. They found a bucket and some rope and went to the bridge. Then the driver let the bucket down to the water. The bucket was old and had 5 holes, so they had to fill it, pull it up, and empty it into Thomas's tank as quickly as they could, several times over. They finished at last. That's good, puffed Thomas, and Annie and Clarabelle ran happily behind. Suddenly, Thomas began to feel a pain in his boiler. Steam began to hiss from his safety valve in an alarming way. There's too much steam, said his driver. Oh, dear, groaned Thomas. I'm going to burst. They danced down his fire and struggled on. I've got such a pain, Thomas hissed. They stopped just outside the last station, uncoupled Annie and Clarabelle, and ran Thomas, who was still hissing fit to burst, on a siding right out of the way. Then, while the conductor telephoned for an engine inspector, the driver found notices in large letters which he hung on Thomas in front and behind. Danger. Keep away. Soon the inspector and Sir Topham Hatt arrived. Cheer up, Thomas, they said. We'll soon put you right. The driver told them what had happened. So the feed pipe is blocked, said the inspector. I'll just look in the tank. He climbed up and peered in. Then he came down. Excuse me, sir. Please look in the tank and tell me what you see. Certainly, Inspector, replied Sir Topham Hatt. He clambered up, looked in, and nearly fell off in surprise. Inspector, he whispered, can you see fish? Gracious goodness me, how did the fish get there, driver? We must have fished them from the river with our bucket, replied Thomas's driver. Well, Thomas, so you and your driver have been fishing, but fish don't suit you. We must get them out. They all took turns at fishing in Thomas's tank, while Sir Topham Hatt looked on and told them how to do it. When they had caught all the fish, they had a lovely picnic supper of fish and chips. That was good, said Sir Topham Hatt. But fish don't suit you, Thomas, so you mustn't do it again. No, sir, I won't, said Thomas sadly. Engines don't go fishing. It's too uncomfortable.
I have a feeling that Schemer's in for something a little worse than a stomachache.